welcome to another episode of Growing Kentucky's Leaders. I'm one of your hosts, Sheldon McKinney.
And I'm your other host, Ruth Ann Fink.
And we have another 2-for-1 state officer special today. And we have some great folks joining us. We have Noah and Paige, who are currently serving as 24-25 Kentucky FFA state officers. Guys, how about you all introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about where you're from and where you're going to school and your office. Paige, we'll start with you.
Okay, so hello, my name is Paige Cash, and this year I am serving as the Kentucky River State Vice President, and I'm originally from Rockcastle County. And I'm attending school at Eastern Kentucky University, and I'm majoring in agricultural education and horticulture.
Hello, my name is Noah Mallory. I am the Pennyrile State Vice President this year. I'm from Muhlenberg County, and I am currently a sophomore at Murray State University studying agribusiness.
Well, thank you all for being with us today. We're so excited to have you on the show, and you all have been a pleasure to work with this year. As current Kentucky FFA state officers, how about you tell us a little bit about your leadership journey, where it started with FFA, and how it's helped you grow as a person so far? Noah, we'll go with you first.
Yeah, for sure. FFA has taken me a lot of places I really never thought I would get to go, and I really owe it all to my mom. It was her idea for me to join. She was a member when she was in high school, and she really encouraged me to get involved. And her one piece of advice was do everything. So I really took advantage of that, and it allowed me to become a chapter officer for a couple years and a regional officer. And I had a different track to being a state officer than most because I took a year off and I went to college for a year. And that really helped me grow too, and realized how much I missed FFA and how much that it helped me grow. And then I came back and was lucky enough to be elected, and I think I'd taken it and run with it just to be in this situation I'm truly grateful for.
Okay. Thanks, Noah. Paige, what about you? How's it shaped your journey?
So I kind of had the traditional FFA kid, like start in FFA, I guess. I'm a third generation FFA member. So my dad and my grandpa were both presidents at the Rockcastle County FFA chapter. So, going into high school, I knew that I wanted to be involved in FFA. Like there was no doubt about that. But I didn't know where FFA would take me. My first contest in FFA was record keeping freshman year, and it was COVID year, so it was all online. So it was a very non-traditional start, I guess you could say. But I just kept getting involved in more contests and going on trips, and my passion and love for the organization just grew. And I wouldn't have imagined that I would be here today, but my advisors, Matthew Whitaker and Lewis Mink, they really just kickstarted my journey, and they encouraged me to get involved in everything, and I think I have them to thank for where I am today.
Oh, that's great, Paige. We share an ag teacher. Mr. Whitaker was actually my ag teacher too, and he had the chance to go back home, and so he did. But he was at Boyle for a little bit before, so you have two great ag teachers for sure. And then when I did my student teaching, I got to be in the same building as Mr. Mink when he was at Locust Trace at the time. So you have had a great experience there. Yeah. I think it's great for people to hear that you can be a multi-generational FFA member, or you can be, someone that maybe is on the fence and their mom encourages them to get involved and it's life-changing. But either way, you guys are having a really great experience this year. I want to talk about your time in college a little bit and balancing state office and college, being full-time students. What career paths are you guys on and working towards, and what influenced you to choose that career path? Noah, let's start with you.
Yeah, like I said, I am a sophomore at Murray State University studying agribusiness with an emphasis in marketing and management, actually. So I'm looking to get into farm management. That's hopefully the goal. I've also looked into ag marketing because, technology is always changing, and there's always new up and coming things in agriculture. And I think that would be very interesting. Um, like I said, I took a year off, so I went to college as a freshman, not being a state officer, and I learned how to balance everything and how to be a college student. And then I came in this year already knowing how to be a college student, but had to learn how to also be a state officer. And I truly think the being there a year without being a state officer really uh, helped me have a better way of balancing everything this year. I've been able to set aside time to work on state officer stuff when I need to, and be able to work on classes. And I've really had a good balance and been able to enjoy college more this year as a state officer than I think I did last year.
What was it that influenced you to go into farm management?
So I work on a beef cattle feedlot at home during the summer, and I've got to see each side. I've got to see the cattle production side and as well as the row crop side. And I've always been interested in farming. When I was young, I always told mom if I didn't become a professional basketball player, I was going to be a farmer. And so farm management has always kind of been something I thought about. I think I'm built to work outside, so I want to be on a farm each day, and it was just a no-brainer really whenever I got into agribusiness.
Can't wait to see where you end up one day, Noah. That's exciting. Paige, tell us about what career path you're on and then what really influenced you to be there.
So, like I said, I'm majoring in agricultural education. So, since I was a freshman in Principles of Ag, I knew that I wanted to further my agriculture journey through education. And like I said, Mr. Meek was my ag teacher. And going into freshman year, I knew I wanted to be an FFA, but it was still very nerve-wracking because it was just a lot of new people. And going into high school is always like that. But from the moment that I sat in my seat in Principles of Ag, Mr. Meek just made me feel like I was at home, and that was a place where I belonged. And I just want to be that kind of teacher for new incoming members, that are just starting their journey in FFA. So, I could say that Mr. Mink is the reason that I want to be an ag teacher and, just make kids feel the way about me that I feel about him.
Oh, that is so sweet. And guys, there are so many career paths for people in agriculture, farm management, ag business, ag education, so many great things that you can do. You both have so many talents and can't wait to see how you use them. Let's talk about being a state officer. Maybe people don't know what all it entails and kind of just the incredible experiences this year offers. Now, how about you give us a snapshot of what you have done in state office so far? So tell us a little bit about the places you've been and the things you've gotten to experience.
Yeah, so I'm from the Pennyroyal region, so about Western Kentucky area. So I've gotten to travel all around Murray and up into Muhlenberg County, Christian County, Todd County, Hopkins County, Caldwell County. I've been all over the Pennyroyal region, got to meet a lot of people, and it's been amazing. I'm thankful for all the people that are there. And it's a long drive from Murray sometimes. It's about an hour and a half to most of the schools. But that gives me time to be prepared and to reflect on the things that I got to talk about to truly better myself for the betterment of the members.
Okay, so you've gotten to go to all these counties. Have you gotten to go to anywhere else this year?
Yeah, I've gotten to go to Eastern Kentucky, somewhere I really haven't been on the other side of Kentucky. I got to play donkey basketball in Jackson County, which was a great experience, as well as we've been to Washington, D.C. to State Officer Leadership Summit. So that was great. Got to meet all the state officers from around the nation and make a lot of lasting friendships.
Yeah. Indianapolis, FFA camp, just tons of training you've had so far.
And tell us, like, when you're going to all these counties and places, what are you doing?
So I do a lot of workshops. Workshops is something that I love to do. Talk about confidence or teamwork, or kind of just a way to get involved in FFA for younger members, as well as I attend all the fun events that I can. I've played kickball with Todd Central FFA. Played slip and slide kickball with Madisonville North Hopkins, which is a really interesting experience. It was really fun. As well as I've been to some cookouts and different things and just been able to connect with members through fun events like that.
Okay. So Paige, now looking ahead, you all are at the halfway point at the time of our interview for state office. We're talking about how you all wind this thing down already. So what's to come? What is a snapshot of the life of a state officer in Kentucky for the second half of the year? What's on your docket?
Well, first off, I can't believe that we are already at the halfway point. it just seems like yesterday that it was June and we were getting elected.
Mhm.
But I would say the number one thing that I've done as a state officer is drive. There is not a lot of driving involved. I've been up far north as Seneca FFA chapter. I went to their back to school bash. Out west, I went to Edmonson County, and then my region is pretty eastern, so I've been all around there. I think I'm just about to visit every county in my chapter, which was one of my goals as a state officer. But it's been amazing for me to just meet members and just kind of share experiences. Like I feel like I had a very traditional journey through FFA almost, and just kind of a start in it. I come from an agricultural background, a family farm, but it's been great to hear other viewpoints and, students that have a non-traditional background in ag. And that's probably been my favorite part, is just sharing those experiences and learning about other journeys that FFA members have taken.
Yeah. And so what else also to come? You all have industry tours in January where you're going to visit with 21 plus individuals or companies who support, or we hope support, Kentucky FFA. You all will travel to FFA banquets and speak in lots of local counties. And then you all are really preparing for state FFA convention. Your team is who sets the tone and conducts convention for over 2,500 members. So yeah, you all have a lot. You've done a lot. You got a lot more to do, don't you?
Yeah. But I think we're all very excited to see where the next 6 months take us.
Yeah.
So many people go to state convention and they get to experience it without really thinking about, all the hours of script writing and all the organization of even what's going on the annual t-shirt. There's so many details that you all play a part in to make it a really great experience for others. And that's why we call it serving as a state officer, because you figured it out. It's a lot of work to really fulfill that role and do it well. And you guys both have. So we're looking forward to watching you all and your team, how you transition into the new year and prepping for state convention, but also going to regional banquets and going to chapter banquets and closing that chapter well. So we're looking forward to that. As we begin to wrap up here, we always ask the state officers when they're on the podcast, just what's some advice that you would give to younger FFA members who are looking to take on different leadership roles, maybe like you all chose to do once upon a time. So think about, like, what would you want to tell younger FFA members, that good piece of advice? And Paige, we'll start with you this time.
So I would say my piece of advice is just go for it. In FFA, there's a lot of things that are out of your comfort zone. I know there was for me, and especially for members that are just starting out. It's a big organization, and in ag classes, there's a lot of students, and it can kind of be scary at times. But just my advice is to get out of your comfort zone and just go for whatever you put your mind to. And that's really the only way that you are able to grow, I think, is just getting out of your comfort zone. If you always stay where you're comfortable, then you're not really putting yourself in that position to grow. So I think that's how you can really make good experiences and get the most out of the great organization that you have in front of you, is to just go for it and get out of your comfort zone a little bit.
That's great. What about you, Noah? I know that's a similar story to what you said your mom told you, but what would be your advice to these younger members?
Yeah. Mom always told me to just do it, and I took that advice. But my advice is, especially if you're looking into getting into leadership positions, just tell your story. Your story is different from everyone's, and your story is what makes you, you. And if you can go throughout your time in FFA and develop your story and be able to tell your story about what FFA did for you, and you can go far. You can talk to people who were members 100 years ago. Well, not 100 years ago, but 20, 30 years ago, you can talk to people who were FFA members, and their story in FFA is what made them who they are. I think if you can tell your story within FFA, you can go very far.
Yeah, that's great. Be authentic and just go for it. That's wonderful. It'll take you far in life. Well, guys, we always finish our podcast with the same three kind of fun questions that we love getting to share with people. And we'll get started with that. The first one is, what motivates you as a leader? Paige, we'll go with you. What do you think?
So I would say what motivates me is just seeing the impact that I can have on others. Throughout my year as state office, I've kind of been able to see that on a whole new level. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to be a state officer is so I could really just connect with members. When I was going through high school and FFA, I felt that I always had state officers on kind of a pedestal. And I just thought that, they were just the best of the best. But being in the role of a state officer, I don't feel like I'm on a pedestal, and I hope that members don't see me that way. But, just interacting with members as a state officer, it's just, I get to kind of see the seeds that I've sown, I guess you could say, um, and just kind of they're excited to maybe have a state officer in an event or something. But I would say that's really what motivates me is just being able to interact with those members.
Okay. Noah, what motivates you?
What motivates me the most is being able to encourage people. I love being able to encourage members that are maybe thinking about trying to join a team or join an officer team. Um, Being able to encourage them to step out of their comfort zone. I love seeing people become who they're supposed to be, and I take my role as a state officer very seriously as a way to encourage people to step up and be who they're supposed to be.
Mm.
I love hearing this question. It's always so good. Like there's so many great things that motivate us around, and it's good just to kind of like put those into the world and just say what they are. So thanks for sharing that, guys. Our second question we like to ask our guests is around philanthropy. You all know Kentucky FFA Foundation, it's a philanthropy, and philanthropies in general are all about giving back to people and causes. And giving back can look a few different ways. You can give with your time, your talent, your treasure. So we like to ask our guests, what is the most meaningful way you've been able to be a part of philanthropy in your life? And could you share that with us?
Yeah, so I currently am an officer on the Murray State Agribusiness Club officer team. I'm actually the philanthropy chair, so I've got to work with the sororities and fraternities on campus and participate in some of their philanthropy events. And being able to see all the students at Murray, there's such a large campus and all the students are so diverse. But when we're able to come together for philanthropy events that help out the community, it's just really great to see.
Mm.
That's awesome. What about you, Paige? What's meaningful to you and how you've been a part of philanthropy?
So, at Eastern Kentucky University, I am an officer in our Ag Club, which is we partner with Collegiate Farm Bureau. So through that, I've been able to go to some of the Collegiate Farm Bureau meetings and also visit back to Rockcastle County Farm Bureau. And all throughout my FFA journey in high school, my county's Farm Bureau chapter was always willing to help us out, even if it was from just listening to a speech that we had about some of current ag issues. And being able to give back to Kentucky Farm Bureau specifically has just been something that has really helped me out, I think, and just made me realize that I am part of something that is bigger than just me.
Oh, shout out Farm Bureau. That's great. And yeah. Well, thank you. Part of being a state officer, we hope that you use these skills that you learn to be a leader in your community, in your work, in your family, and in agriculture for generations to come. And you guys are both already doing that. Our last question is a fun one and a little silly. So don't think you have to have a serious answer here. I want you to say what immediately comes to your mind. What is something you cannot stop talking about? Whoever can go first can go.
I can take this one. I've recently
Okay.
started watching a TV show. Came out in the
Mhm.
early 2000s, One Tree Hill. Uh, I started watching that this semester during my free time while I'm writing workshops or writing papers or something. I'll be watching that. I'm on season 6 out of 9 seasons right now, and I really enjoy the show, and I talk to people about it all the time. That and deer hunting. That's all I can't stop talking about that either.
No,
Yeah.
that's great. That just made my day.
Yeah, that was awesome, Noah. I did not think you were going to say One Tree
One
Hill,
Tree
but
Hill and deer hunting. And that goes back, you were like, hey, just be
yeah,
yourself. Just be
yeah.
yourself. You can like One Tree Hill
Yeah.
and
Hey,
deer hunting.
Noah,
That's
if you
awesome.
watch One Tree Hill, have you ever watched Friday Night Lights?
I have. I watched that before I found One Tree Hill.
Okay, so if you're into early 2000s high school dramas, they are.
I am. I don't know why I am, but I am. So
Yeah,
I
good.
enjoy it.
That's great. All right, Paige, what can you not stop talking about?
Honestly, I don't know if I can top that one. I didn't peg Noah for a One Tree Hill guy, but I was one thing that I can't stop talking about is books. Right now, since I am on Christmas break, it is the first time in a long time that I've had time to just sit down and read. I think
Yeah.
since I've been on my Christmas break, I've read 4 books already. And
Whoa!
I was reading and reading and reading. And I think my family is sick of hearing about what I'm reading because I just have to tell somebody so I can just get it out there. But I'd say that is what I cannot stop talking about right now.
So
What
we
are
got to
you
follow up. Yeah,
Yeah.
what are like
what are
the
you reading?
top 3 books somebody needs to put on their list that you've read this year? You're a big reader. Tell us your top.
I'd say I love mystery books. Mystery is probably my favorite genre. I like historical fiction. I
Mhm.
just finished Little Women, and it's kind of like a classic book
Yeah.
that it was really, really good. So I would definitely recommend reading it. It is kind of a longer book, but say right now that's the best one that I've read in a little bit.
You all have both surprised me so much.
This is
One
why we
Tree
think this
Hill.
section is so great because we get to
Yeah.
talk about like leadership and all these great things, but we're people too, and we're all human. So it's fun to connect on these things. Thanks for being vulnerable and sharing what you're loving right now.
The riveting drama of Little Women.
I know. Classic.
It is a good Christmas book.
Yep, I will say.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, guys, thank you all for sharing and being yourselves. And you all have been a pleasure to work with this year. You all are both so hardworking and you really do care about Kentucky FFA members. So I hope people watching or listening get to reach out to you guys and see you all in action at some point this year. So thanks for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you all for having us.
Yeah. And thank you all for listening to this episode of Growing Kentucky's Leaders. Growing Kentucky's Leaders is a podcast brought to you by the Kentucky FFA Foundation. Our music is performed by Bourbon County FFA member Joe Fritch. Artwork is by Julie Fritch Creative. Your hosts are Sheldon McKinney and Ruth Ann Fink, and you can find us on all social platforms at Kentucky FFA.